All right, in this video, we're gonna talk about post-hip surgery workouts and how to stay active without making things worse. So the recovery process can feel extremely slow, especially after surgery.
It's been 84 years.
And if you're someone that's used to being active, it's easy to feel restless, discouraged, and even straight up depressed. So today we wanna share a few safe ways to get your heart rate up and feel a little bit more like yourself and get a mental boost without putting yourself at risk after a hip surgery. So here's a few great tips that worked for me. The first workout that's really a game changer is swimming.
How long was I down there? What's my time? What's my time?
Nope, only 58 seconds.
Damn it!
So specifically swimming with a pole buoy. So if your surgeon or PT has cleared you to get in the water, it's a complete game changer, but you won't want to get in the water if you're not cleared or if you still have an open wound. So probably after you get your stitches out, things like that. So what you'll do is you put that pole buoy between your legs and you'll be able to keep your legs afloat so you don't have to kick or overuse those hip flexors after surgery. And you'll get a great upper body workout that's arms, back, shoulders, really without straining that front chain or those front hip flexors that they really want you to protect after surgery. In addition to that, it feels really great to get in the water, get moving again. It's very low impact. It's mentally refreshing to kind of get that heart rate up, get the blood flowing, and get some of that unusual pressure off the joints and reduces the pressure on that hip joint as well. So it also boosts circulation, which promotes healing, and really just most importantly gives you a mental break.
Calm the fuck down.
It helps you feel like yourself a little bit if you've been a little down and out after surgery. So in general, with swimming right after hip surgery or once you're cleared, we want to keep it relatively gentle and work on that rhythm, the breathing, and not necessarily do intervals or sprints, but just kind of keep it under 30 minutes and do some nice laps, kind of get that blood flowing. After hip surgery, or especially after labrum repairs that I had, they really want you to stay out of that hip flexor or those adductors and not overdo it with those muscles. So if you have a pull buoy between your legs and you feel like you're squeezing it too much, a great bonus tip was to try and tie something around that pull buoy, keep it in there without overusing those adductors or those other muscles after hip surgery. So another few great things to try in addition to swimming with a pull buoy would be upper body lifting, but with a few modifications, probably somewhere around 2+ weeks out of surgery. And these are some things you can try while you're still on crutches.
We're gonna get 15 reps of these, all right?
My chest gonna look like yours?
Indeed.
So the key here is really to avoid anything that heavily recruits that hip bracing. So you don't want to do too many movements where you have to brace hard or anything like that.
Let me demonstrate. All right. Now, you might want to step back. Okay. Further.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right. No, a little further. There you go. All right. No,
Or you're doing lat pull down and pulling up on those hip flexors. So you want to try things that are symmetrical, controlled, and easy to adjust. So a few examples of things that would be great would be things like seated dumbbell press. Obviously you want to start all of these with high reps, low weight, bicep curls, tricep extensions, and a particular favorite was TRX rows that really works that posterior chain. You could also do chest press on a bench with your feet supported if needed, but you'd be surprised at how quickly you get a great upper body workout, especially if you superset these things with little rest, do them quickly, and again, keep that weight light and do high repetitions to not overdo it.
Get it out, squeeze it. Yeah. Come on. Get it out. Get it. Come on, one more, bitch. Yeah.
But a great way to get a good upper body workout while still on crutches. And so another great workout tip in addition to swimming and the upper body lifting is an upper body cardio, but specifically using what's called an arm bike. So if you've ever had shoulder surgery and in PT, you start with an arm bike. But after hip surgery, you can certainly use the arm bike and do it a little bit more intense and get a pretty good upper body workout. It's not the most exciting workout ever, but it's still pretty effective. So if your legs or hips are recovering, your arms, you can still work those out. So do what you can, don't overdo it.
Uh-oh, Spadudios.
But give the arm bike a shot. And really the key here with any of these is really to just keep the weight light and use resistance bands if you don't have access to dumbbells, but really just kind of keep that blood flowing, builds confidence and prevents that kind of mental sluggishness that you get after surgery. So you can shoot for 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps of these various exercises and really just kind of keep yourself moving.
1002.
Mr. Burgundy,
1003.
Helen said that you needed to sing.
Oh, I could barely lift my right arm because I did so many. I don't know if you heard me counting, I did over 1,000.
Another great tip is to work on breath and core connection. So your core really supports your hips, and you can really focus on that breath work and that deep core activation. Obviously, you'll need to follow your physical therapist's advice, but at the beginning, after hip surgery, they'll really have you focus on TA, that transverse abdominis activation to really help stabilize your spine and your hips. So then you'll progress into things like cat-cow and other mobilizations to kind of get those hips moving. But focusing on that deep breath work and that deep TA, transverse abdominis activation, is a great way to start. So with these few different post-hip surgery workouts, really the goal is to stick to short sessions. So anything from 10 to 20 minutes or up to 30 minutes, but really it's just something is better than nothing. So do what you can, and always ask your PT or your doctor if you're unsure if you can do that after a hip surgery. But really the goal is to protect your hip, obviously, but also to help your mind feel engaged. So even these light movements make a huge difference mentally with mood and motivation. So these small workouts are certainly much more for your mindset than they are your body. But getting that blood flowing, getting that heart rate up, huge ways to kind of get your mind back in a great motivational spot. And as always, if there's things that helped you or great workouts or small things that you tried after your hip surgery, please throw those in the comments. If you found any other surprising ways to stay active after hip surgery, obviously physical therapy can feel very tedious. So always looking for new tools and tips. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.